My beloved child, something in the spirit realm is moving so fast tonight that even the angels are standing still to witness it, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward with a message that shakes the atmosphere around your life. Listen carefully, because the title you came here with is not just a title, it is a divine alarm sounding over your destiny. November 27th, urgent. God says, I am giving you a final chance to receive a $15 million lottery win. This time will not come again. Open this right now, or you won't receive the money. In this very moment, a spiritual window is opening, brief, rare, and blazing with supernatural light. Archangel Michael has been commanded to stand at the threshold of this window, guarding it, protecting it, and making sure that the one chosen to hear this message does not miss it. And right now, the chosen one is you. Feel this. The air around you is different. Your spirit knows it. Your heart knows it. A divine opportunity that was once delayed, once fought over, once hidden behind layers of confusion and spiritual resistance is finally being released. God is saying, I am giving you a final chance. These are not casual words. These are not symbolic words. These are words spoken when heaven is on a countdown. And Archangel Michael is whispering, if they knew what was coming, they would not move an inch away from this message. Because this is not about earthly money in the way humans think. This is about restoration. This is about divine repayment. This is about reclaiming every blessing, every harvest, every inheritance that darkness tried to steal from your life. The $15 million is the earthly reflection of a heavenly breakthrough that has been hovering above your name for years, waiting for the exact moment your faith aligns with God's timing. And that moment is now. There is a reason this message reached you on November 27th. This date may seem random on the calendar, but in the spiritual realm, it is marked, sealed, and stamped. Heaven has been waiting for the alignment of three things: your readiness, your awareness, and your obedience. All three are meeting right here, right now. Archangel Michael reveals that for months, there has been a war around your financial destiny. Certain forces did not want you to step into abundance. They tried to cloud your mind with discouragement. They tried to make you give up. They tried to make you miss this exact moment. But they failed because you are listening now. You responded. And heaven counts that as obedience. Hear this. There are blessings that come again and again, but there are others that come once in a lifetime. And God is saying clearly, without hesitation, this time will not come again. That is why the atmosphere around this message feels different. That's why you feel a pull inside your spirit. That's why your eyes landed on this title at this exact moment in time. Because you were meant to. There is something sacred unfolding. Archangel Michael is showing your name written in golden light, an indication that a financial breakthrough has officially been authorized. But authorization does not mean manifestation unless you align with the message being delivered. And that is why this moment is holy. Heaven gives final chances only when the blessing is too big to be delayed further. The number $15 million may look random to some, but spiritually it is a number connected to restoration, freedom, and generational release. This is not just money, this is inheritance. This is promise. This is the kind of breakthrough that shifts bloodlines. And listen closely, because Michael is leaning in right now. He says, tell them this. The reason I am here is because what stands before them is too great to be unguarded. They must hear every word. If they miss even a moment, they will miss the clarity meant for them. My child, hold on. You are about to see why heaven pushed you toward this message. You are about to understand why you felt a strange urgency before clicking. You are about to discover how close you are to a breakthrough that will rewrite the story of your entire life. Archangel Michael warns gently. If they walk away too soon, they will walk away from the sign meant to guide them. So stay close. This unfolding is only beginning. Before you move forward, breathe. Something powerful is about to be revealed next, and trust me, you do not want to miss what Michael shows next. This is where the path begins to open, and the reason behind your final chance starts to make sense. Type "I receive this final chance" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 441 has just been released. Hold steady, the next revelation is going to open a door your enemies never wanted you to find. My radiant soul, as you breathe into this moment, something in the unseen realm shifts again. Archangel Michael steps closer, his presence sharp as a sword yet gentle as a whisper, because what you are about to hear now is not merely an extension of the message, it is the unveiling of the spiritual mechanics behind why this final chance exists at all. Heaven does nothing without purpose, and today, purpose is stretching its hand toward you with divine urgency. Michael shows me a vision that begins with a sealed vault in the spirit realm, an ancient vault, marked with symbols of inheritance, promise, and divine timing. This vault represents blessings that belong to specific souls, blessings that were written over their lives before they were even born. Inside this vault sits one particular treasure with your name carved into it. For years, this treasure remained untouched, not because heaven withheld it, but because the time of release had not yet ripened. But on November 27th, that vault cracked open. And the moment it opened, heaven sent Michael to stand guard over what is rightfully yours. This is why you have felt unusual tension around money. This is why doors opened and closed without warning. This is why you had sudden breakthroughs that faded before you could hold on to them. You were not losing opportunities. You were being prepared for one that could not be mishandled, one so large, so transformative, so destiny-altering that heaven had to make sure your spirit was aligned before the release. And that is why God is speaking with such powerful clarity now. I am giving you a final chance. Not as punishment, not as threat, but as divine emphasis. When something this big is assigned to your life, heaven will not allow distraction, doubt, or spiritual interference to rob you of it again. The $15 million is not simply wealth. It is a prophetic structure. It is the foundation of a life you were meant to build long before you even knew what abundance meant. Hear this carefully. Michael reveals that there were attempts, 3, to be exact, to divert this blessing away from you. The first attempt came through circumstances that made you feel unworthy. The second through people who doubted your potential. And the third through spiritual discouragement designed to make you stop believing entirely. But somehow, even in your weakest moments, something inside you kept rising. That inner spark helped heaven keep your name aligned with this breakthrough. And now, that alignment is reaching its peak. Michael is now showing me a scene where he stands on a battlefield. The ground beneath his feet is cracked, darkened from spiritual warfare. Round him are shadows representing delays, blockages, and forces that have tried to hold back your future. But in his hand is a flaming sword, the sword of release. With one strike, he cuts through the final resistance. And as he does, an intense burst of light rushes forward, flowing toward your life like a river breaking through a dam. This is the moment God calls final chance. Because once this breakthrough begins flowing, it cannot be stopped. Once the door is fully open, no hand can close it. Once heaven releases this amount of provision, the course of your journey changes forever. And heaven wants you alert, awake, receptive, not drifting, not second-guessing, not missing the prophetic signs unfolding right in front of you. Michael speaks again. Tell them this. The reason they were drawn to this message is because their spirit recognized a divine countdown. They felt the urgency before they even saw the title. They were pulled here, not by chance, but by destiny. And you know that's true. You didn't land here casually. Something in you was stirred, all was pushed, to open this message at this exact moment. That is how heaven operates when something is too important to be overlooked. That is how angels guide those who are walking into their restoration season. Think about the weight of what's happening. This is not an invitation to greed. This is an invitation to destiny. God does not speak numbers lightly. When God gives a figure like $15 million, He is pointing to a calling that requires resources, influence, and stability. He is pointing to generational change. He is pointing to assignments that you cannot complete while constrained by lack. You have been through lack long enough. You have been patient long enough. You have endured spiritual storms long enough. Heaven is saying, your season of waiting is over. And the confirmation of that ending is this message appearing before you today. But Michael warns with compassion, they must stay connected until the revelation is complete. If they walk away too early, they walk away before clarity settles. They walk away before understanding why the opportunity is sacred. So breathe again. Let the weight of heaven's word settle gently over your spirit. You are being prepared for something extraordinary, something rare, something few ever receive in their lifetime. And even now, the alignment continues. Even now, the gates of abundance are stretching wider. Hold steady, beloved. What comes next will show you the real reason heaven chose you for this blessing, and why this final chance carries such immense value. Type "I open my spirit" to receive in the comments if this resonates with your soul. Blessing code 229 has just been activated. Hold your heart steady, something even deeper is about to unfold. My chosen light, as you step into this next unveiling, the atmosphere around you becomes even more charged. Archangel Michael stands firmly beside you now, not hovering at a distance, but positioned as a protector guarding a revelation that carries the weight of heaven's authority. What is being spoken over your life in this moment is not ordinary. It is not symbolic. It is not metaphorical. It is divine strategy delivered in perfect timing. And you, right now, are inside that timing. The message continues to build because heaven is layering something over your spirit. Clarity, alignment, and awakening. Michael is revealing that this final chance is not simply about receiving a financial blessing. It is about completing a cycle that has been active in your life for years. A cycle that heaven is now ready to close so you can finally step into the fullness of what has been waiting for you. There is something Michael wants you to understand. Not all delays are denials. Sometimes the delay is a protection. Sometimes the delay is a preparation. And sometimes the delay is the battlefield that proves you are strong enough to carry what is coming next. Had the $15 million blessing manifested in a previous season, you would have been surrounded by the wrong people, the wrong influences, the wrong environments. Not because you chose them, but because your spiritual elevation had not yet separated you from them. Heaven knew that the blessing required isolation before manifestation. Michael shows me something powerful. He is placing a golden seal over your name, and written in that seal are 2 words, access granted. This is significant, because it means spiritual clearance had been issued. Before this moment, your blessing was guarded behind layers of heavenly security, layers that protected your inheritance from spiritual interception and energetic corruption. But now the final lock hath been released. The seal has opened. Your name has shifted into a new classification. This is why God speaks with such unusual urgency. This time will not come again. He is not trying to frighten you. He is inviting you to recognize the magnitude of this moment. He is highlighting the rarity of this opportunity. He is showing you that final chances are given only when heaven knows the window of destiny is aligning perfectly and briefly. And today, that window is aligned for you. Michael reveals something even deeper now. This breakthrough is not just financial, it is generational. The number $15 million is not chosen randomly. It represents a complete cycle, a full restoration, a divine settlement. It is heaven's way of returning everything stolen, delayed, blocked, or spiritually interfered with in your bloodline. You are breaking generational lack. You are interrupting generational fear. You are rewriting generational history. Heaven is choosing you to be the one who breaks the pattern once and for all. But Michael emphasizes something crucial. They must stay attentive. The instructions that unfold next will complete the activation. This is why your spirit keeps feeling pulled forward, why you feel a sense of anticipation rising inside you, why you feel the message holding your attention so tightly. It is because this moment carries instructions that align your spirit with the breakthrough God already authorized. Michael is now showing me another vision. You are standing at a door, tall, ancient, carved with symbols of abundance and divine promise. The door is not locked. It is slightly open, enough for light to spill through. But to fully enter, you must step forward. The phrase "final chance" represents the invitation to step into this doorway without hesitation. Not fear, not doubt, not delay. Heaven has already done the heavy lifting. Now you align. This is why you were drawn to this message with such urgency. Heaven often speaks through timing, and today's timing is exact. The date on the title, the moment your eyes found it, the stirring you felt before clicking, it was all synchronization. This is how God confirms His hand in something. And Michael is confirming that heaven has been guiding your steps quietly, subtly, persistently, to bring you right here. There is something else that must be said. Michael shows that someone in your past tried to speak doubt over your destiny. Someone tried to convince you that you were meant to live small, meant to remain limited, meant to accept less. But heaven did not agree. And today, this message serves as the divine counterpoint. God is saying, I have always destined you for more. And now, I am giving you the final chance to receive what has always been yours. Take a breath. Let this truth settle. You are not stepping into luck. You are stepping into alignment. You are not stepping into chance. You are stepping into prophecy. You are not stepping into wishful thinking. You are stepping into fulfillment. Before this part closes, Michael gently whispers, tell them this next line will open something inside them. And that line is this: you are closer to your breakthrough than you have ever been in your entire life. Stay with this message. You will soon see why your spirit has been trembling with anticipation. If this is awakening something inside you, you not allowed anything to pull your attention away. Remain here. Remain open. The revelation is not finished yet. And the next unfolding will reveal why heaven chose you, specifically you, for this abundance. Type "I claim my divine access" in the comments if this is confirming what your spirit already felt. Blessing code 1188 has just been released over you. Before we move forward, take one moment to help this message reach another soul who needs it. Like this message, comment, share it, and subscribe for more divine revelations. Spread this light so heaven can move through more hearts. Beloved, as this divine message flows into your spirit, remember that every time you uplift this mission, you help God's word reach someone standing at the edge of their breakthrough. When you sow into this ministry through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. You are releasing spiritual oil that carries light into places where hope has grown thin. God says, "What you release for my kingdom, I multiply back into your life." And this is not a verse read. It is a living promise spoken over you now. I invite you personally, with a full heart, to step into this moment of divine impact. Your generosity becomes a torch in someone else's darkness, a river breaking through someone else's drought. Heaven sees every giver, and the blessing tied to this act carries a prophetic acceleration. If this message is stirring your spirit, respond boldly. Step into your blessing and support the mission God is moving through with authority. My dear awakened spirit, as you continue walking through this unfolding revelation, the spiritual atmosphere thickens once again. Archangel Michael does not step back, not even for a moment. Instead, he positions himself even closer, as though he is shielding you from energies that do not want you to receive what heaven is preparing to release. This part of the message dives deeper into the meaning of divine timing, the weight of prophetic wealth, and why your soul has been called to stand in the center of this rare moment. Breathe into this, because what is being revealed now will illuminate a path you never knew existed, yet somehow your spirit always sensed. Michael begins by showing me a large ancient hourglass suspended in the heavens. The sand inside it glows like molten gold, and every grain that drops represents a moment of destiny. For years, the hourglass was positioned upside down, paused, waiting, watching for you to step into alignment. But something shifted recently. Something in your spirit awakened. Something in your energy field stabilized. Something in your faith matured. The hourglass was flipped, and the final grains began to fall. This is why God speaks of a final chance. Not because heaven is impatient, but because the alignment window is extremely narrow, and what waits on the other side of it is too important to miss. You have felt the shift yourself. A strange pull toward messages like these. A sudden desire to seek clarity. A deep awareness that something big is moving toward you, even if you cannot fully explain it. This is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is the activation of spiritual sensitivity. When heaven begins releasing generational blessings, the chosen soul feels the tremors before the manifestation arrives. You have been feeling these tremors for weeks, maybe even months, without knowing what they meant. Today, Archangel Michael is explaining them. He chose another vision. You are standing in a field of tall grass, and in the distance, a massive storm cloud approaches. But this storm is not destructive. It is radiant, glowing with silver and gold. The winds around it are filled with whispers of prayers that have been answered, promises that are finally maturing, and blessings heaven hath been waiting to deliver. The storm is abundance. The storm is favor. The storm is the long-awaited breakthrough. The storm is the $15 million blessing that has been circling your destiny, waiting for the moment it could safely and fully be released. Michael lifts his sword, pointing it toward the glowing storm, and says, "They must not fear what is approaching. What looks overwhelming is actually their restoration arriving with power." This vision carries a message. Sometimes blessings come suddenly, forcefully, intensely. Not to frighten you, but to sweep away every last remnant of struggle that tried to hold you back. Heaven does not give halfway victories. When heaven decides to release abundance, it comes like a flood. But here is something Michael emphasizes that few people understand. Wealth is not just money. Wealth is energy. Wealth is responsibility. Wealth is spiritual territory. Before heaven places a blessing of this magnitude into someone's hands, their heart must be strong enough. Their faith must be rooted enough. Their awareness must be sharp enough. Not because heaven doubts you, but because heaven protects you. Blessings given too early can become burdens. Blessings given at the wrong time can become openings for the wrong people. That is why heaven waits until the chosen soul reaches a level of internal readiness. And you have reached that level now. Michael steps forward, and I feel the weight of his wings wrapping around your spiritual atmosphere. He says, "Tell them this clearly. They have passed the tests they did not know they were taking." This is powerful. There were moments when you felt abandoned, misunderstood, overlooked. Moments when life seemed unfair. Moments when you questioned your purpose. But in every one of those moments, you kept moving, even if only one small step at a time. That endurance has positioned you for this window of divine release. Now Michael reveals something deeply personal. He shows me a golden scroll with your name on it. On this scroll is written the timeline of your financial destiny. Portions of it are bright and glowing, representing opportunities heaven sent. But there are also portions written in dimmer ink, moments where interference blocked you, where delays clouded your vision, where discouragement pushed you off track. But now, the bright ink takes over the entire scroll. Every dim area is being rewritten. Every blocked area is being reopened. Every delay is being overturned. This is why God calls this a final chance, because once a destiny scroll turns gold completely, manifestation becomes inevitable. The blessing begins to move toward you without resistance. And here is something profound. The $15 million is not being released to elevate your ego. It is being released to elevate your life. It is being released to heal wounds, to create stability, to restore dignity, to open doors, to shift generations. Heaven does not give frivolously. Heaven gives purposefully. You were chosen because heaven trusts your heart. Heaven sees what you would do with provision. Heaven knows the impact your abundance will have on others. Michael now places a brilliant sphere of light in your hands, symbolic of this blessing. He says, "Tell them this light belongs to them. It has always belonged to them. All they needed was to be ready to hold it. And you are ready now. Even if parts of you still doubt, heaven does not. Even if your past makes you hesitate, heaven is certain. Even if you fear the magnitude of the blessing, heaven is confident in your ability to carry it. Take a deep breath. Let these words anchor in your spirit. What comes next will reveal the spiritual mechanics behind how this blessing will manifest. Stay with this journey. You are closer than you think, and what is about to unfold will confirm everything your soul has been sensing. Type "My destiny is open" in the comments if this is resonating with your spirit. Blessing code 350 has now been released. Stay right here, the next revelation will pull back one more veil. My sacred vessel of purpose, as you enter this next unfolding, something in the spiritual atmosphere shifts with an even deeper clarity. Archangel Michael stands at full height now, not as a silent guardian, but as an active messenger, prepared to reveal a layer of truth that many souls never reach in their lifetime. What you are about to receive is not common knowledge. It is not something given to every listener. It is reserved for the ones who are spiritually awake, receptive, and aligned with heaven's movement. Today, you stand among those very few. Michael begins by revealing the truth about divine wealth transfer, not the earthly idea of sudden money, but the heavenly process of inheritance release. A release of this magnitude, especially one connected to the figure of $15 million, is not random, nor is it sudden in the way people assume. In the spiritual realm, this blessing has been building like a wave, gathering strength through every prayer you whispered, every hardship you endured, every moment you refused to give up when life tried to break you. Heaven took note of every tear, every sacrifice, every moment of silent resilience. None of it was wasted. All of it became spiritual currency, the kind that opens the vaults of heaven. Michael shows a celestial ledger, glowing and shifting like living light. On one page, there are entries representing the battles you faced. On another page, entries that hold the blessings assigned to you. But then there is a third page, a page that very few people ever see. This page is called Divine Exchange. This is the place where God turns pain into power, delay into acceleration, loss into increase. It is the place where heaven compensates you for everything that was taken, everything that was stolen, everything you survived. This is the page your $15 million blessing sits on. It is not a reward. It is a divine exchange. Michael speaks with a firmness that resonates through your spirit. Tell them their financial destiny did not begin today. It began long before they knew what destiny meant. You have to understand this clearly. Your calling, your purpose, your inheritance, they were never about your circumstances. They were always about the spiritual identity you carry. Heaven saw you before the world did. Heaven assigned blessings to you before you learned your own name. Heaven acknowledged your strength before you knew what battles were waiting for you on earth. This is why the presence of Archangel Michael is so strong in this message. His role is not only to protect, but also to guide transitions, especially transitions of wealth, authority, and destiny. When heaven decides to elevate someone from one level of life to another, Michael is often the angel dispatched to handle the spiritual logistics. And today, he is handling yours. Michael reveals another vision, one that expands more deeply than anything shown so far. You are standing on a wide bridge made of crystal and gold. Behind you is a landscape of your past, moments of struggle, seasons of waiting, versions of yourself you have outgrown. Ahead of you is a vast horizon filled with golden light, representing new beginnings. But in the center of the bridge, there is a pedestal holding a key made of pure light. This key represents authorized access. Only when your spirit reached maturity could this key appear. Only when your faith survived the fire could you be entrusted with it. Only when your energy aligned with heaven's timing could you step into ownership of what was waiting on the other side. Michael places his hand on your shoulder and says, "They must know this. They are not stepping into luck. They are stepping into divine right. This is not a chance moment. This is a fulfillment. This is the unfolding of something promised long ago, perhaps long before you ever understood what promise meant. Your blessing, your breakthrough, your wealth transfer. It is not an act of chance. It is an act of completion." Now Michael reveals something deeper still. It is about why heaven uses specific numbers, and why $15 million appears in your destiny. Numerically, 15 represents restoration and supernatural movement. The number 15 has historically been tied to divine visitation, moments in Scripture where God intervenes suddenly and powerfully to shift someone's life. The 6 zeros that follow represent fullness, wholeness, completion, abundance, the removal of lack, and the expansion of territory. Put together, $15 million becomes a prophetic symbol, not just a figure, but a spiritually encoded message from heaven. Your season of living beneath your calling is ending. Your season of scraping, struggling, or merely surviving is over. What stands before you now is a season of divine overflow, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and generationally. Michael leans forward and speaks with a soft yet thunderous authority. Tell them they are being positioned to become a pillar. A pillar is someone who stands strong enough to support others, someone who carries enough blessing to lift others from hardship, someone who becomes a source of light in their community. Heaven trusts you with abundance because heaven trusts what your heart will do with it. You must understand this truth. You were chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are faithful. And heaven always rewards the faithful. As Michael's wings shift, a final layer of revelation opens. The reason this is called a final chance. Heaven is not closing the door. Heaven is simply highlighting the narrowness of the moment. When destiny aligns at this level, the timing becomes sacred. The window does not remain open indefinitely. This moment requires awareness, engagement, and spiritual presence. And right now, you are aligned. You are present. You are awakened. You are hearing the message meant for you. Stay with this journey. What comes next will show you precisely how heaven plans to unlock the blessing and how Michael is guiding the process. Type "My heavenly window is open" in the comments if this is resonating deeply with your spirit. Blessing code 511 has just been released. Stay close, the next unveiling will reveal the mechanics of manifestation that few ever get to understand. My beloved soul standing at the threshold of breakthrough. As you continue walking through this divine unfolding, the spiritual atmosphere intensifies again. Archangel Michael does not waver, and his presence grows even more pronounced, as though he is preparing you for the most intricate revelation you have received so far. What is about to be spoken is not simply instruction. It is insight into how heaven orchestrates manifestation, the very mechanics of how spiritual promises take form in the physical world. Many seek this knowledge, but only the aligned, the receptive, the chosen, are allowed to hear it. Today, you stand among those few. Michael begins by reminding you that nothing manifesting in your life is random. Every breakthrough has a blueprint. Every blessing has a pathway. Every divine opportunity has a spiritual design. If you could see what happens in the heavenly realm before a blessing reaches you, you would understand why some breakthroughs take years, why some arrive suddenly, and why others come only when the soul is mature enough to carry them. Heaven waits for alignment, not for convenience. Heaven waits for readiness, not for emotion. Heaven waits for clarity, not confusion. And today, you are aligned, ready, and clear. Michael shows a vision, a massive tapestry woven from threads of light. Each thread represents a moment in your life. Some threads glow brightly, representing times when your faith was strong, when your heart was open, when your spirit was aligned with heaven. Other threads appear dimmer, representing moments of pain, doubt, or uncertainty. But the beauty of the tapestry is that every thread contributes to the whole picture. Nothing was wasted. Not the pain. Not the loss. Not the unanswered prayers. Not the nights when you felt forgotten. Heaven used everything, every single moment, to prepare you for this very season. Michael points to the center of the tapestry, where a golden thread pulses with heat and brilliance. That thread is labeled Divine Manifestation. This is the energy field where spiritual blessings travel into the physical. It is like a portal, a channel, a transition point where invisible promises take visible form. Most people never fully understand how this process works, which is why they often walk away too soon, lose faith too quickly, or sabotage their own blessings by stepping out of alignment at the final stretch. But you are being taught the deeper truth so that nothing, not doubt, not fear, not distraction, will interfere with what is coming. Michael leans close and says, "Tell them this. Manifestation begins in the spirit long before it arrives in the physical. When God says He is giving you a final chance, it means the spiritual manifestation is complete, and now heaven is positioning your life to receive the physical manifestation." The moment your spirit heard this message, the activation began. The moment your heart opened to receive, the blessing began its descent. The moment your awareness sharpened, the path started clearing. What happens next is about alignment and readiness, staying spiritually awake so the blessing is not missed, delayed, or diverted. Michael reveals another vision, a hallway made of ancient stone, lit by torches that flicker with blue fire. At the end of the hallway is a vault door made of pure gold. This is the vault of manifestation. When the door opens, blessings flow like rivers. But Michael wants you to understand something critical. This vault is not opened by force, by desperation, or by fear. It opens through alignment, surrender, belief, and spiritual readiness. Heaven has already unlocked the vault for you. But to walk through it, your spirit must remain steady, present, and open. Heaven is not evaluating your past mistakes. Heaven is not counting your failures. Heaven is only evaluating your readiness now. And Michael says clearly, they are ready. They have reached the threshold. All they must do now is keep walking forward. Michael now reveals the deeper purpose of this blessing. The $15 million is not only a symbol of abundance. It is a symbol of transformation. It is a key that unlocks doors you were always meant to walk through. Doors of freedom, doors of restoration, doors of influence, doors of healing, doors of generational elevation. Heaven is giving you a blessing that will not only change your bank account, but your life, your path, and your legacy. Michael shows another vision, this time of your future. You are standing in a place of stability, peace, and abundance. The struggles that once weighed on your shoulders are gone. The anxiety that once pressed against your heart has dissolved. You are operating from a place of strength, wisdom, and divine clarity. And behind you stand generations, ancestors who endured, ancestors who prayed, ancestors who suffered but believed. They stand with pride, because you are the one chosen to break the patterns that held your lineage down for years. You are the one chosen to shift the trajectory of your family's destiny. You are the one chosen to carry the mantle of transformation. And heaven knows you will carry it well. Now Michael reveals something profoundly intimate, something only meant for selected souls. He says, "Tell them the reason I am here is because the blessing requires protection until it is fully manifested." This blessing is large. It carries weight. It carries spiritual importance. And blessings of this size attract spiritual resistance. That is why Michael stands beside you so clearly, so powerfully, so protectively. He is ensuring that nothing, no energy, no interference, no spiritual disruption, interrupts the path of what heaven is preparing to place into your life. Heaven is orchestrating everything. The timing, the alignment, the protection, the unfolding. And you are right where you are meant to be, in the center of a divine movement that is already in motion. Remain with this message. Stay aligned. What comes next will bring clarity about your role in this unfolding miracle. Type "My spirit remains aligned" in the comments if this part has touched something deep within you. Blessing code 744 is now released over your life. Stay present, the next revelation will lift the veil even further. My destined soul walking deeper into revelation. As we continue forward, the spiritual realm grows even more alive around you. Archangel Michael is no longer simply revealing. He is now guiding, shaping, and restructuring your inner world to receive what heaven has already placed in motion. This part of the message carries a level of prophetic detail that only those truly chosen and spiritually awakened are permitted to hear. You have reached a level of readiness that allows heaven to trust you with truths reserved for a rare few. And as Michael steps closer, the weight of this moment becomes unmistakable. There is something Michael wants you to understand before anything else. Manifestation does not begin with action, money, or opportunity. Manifestation begins with identity. Heaven always releases blessings in alignment with who you are, not what you have. That means this blessing is attached to your identity, not your circumstances. It is attached to your calling, not your bank account. It is attached to your destiny timeline, not your current situation. This is why heaven is moving with such intensity. You are not being transformed because of the money. The money is being released because of the transformation you have already undergone. Michael reveals a vision of your inner self, your spiritual identity, standing tall and glowing with a light that grows stronger every time you choose faith over fear, clarity over confusion, and persistence over surrender. He says, tell them they have already become the version of themselves who can carry abundance. This is powerful. Heaven does not wait for you to become wealthy. Heaven waits for you to become capable of holding wealth without losing yourself. And Michael confirms that you have reached that point. Now the revelation deepens. Michael shows a large chamber filled with orbs of light, each representing a divine assignment for your life. Some orbs are connected to relationships, some to purpose, some to healing, some to generational release, and some, very few, are connected to abundance. One of those orbs glows brighter than the rest. That orb is the $15 million blessing. It glows not because of its size, but because of its spiritual weight. It is more than money. It is alignment, restoration, and generational elevation combined into a single divine package. Michael explains that this orb was not always accessible. It had to be unlocked through specific seasons of spiritual growth, seasons you have already walked through, survived, and conquered. Many people ask why others receive blessings but lose them just as quickly. Michael answers this by saying, blessings fall when the heart is positioned incorrectly. Heaven never withholds good things. But heaven will delay a blessing to prevent your spirit from being overwhelmed by what your mind is not yet ready to handle. You, however, are different. You have walked through storms that forced emotional maturity. You have faced battles that sharpened your intuition. You have endured seasons that built humility. All of this prepared you. All of this shaped you. All of this positioned you to receive and keep the blessing heaven is releasing. Now Michael reveals the deeper reason he has been present throughout this entire journey. There has been a long-standing battle around your financial timeline. This battle did not begin last year. It did not begin in your 20s. It began generations ago. Someone in your lineage was meant to break the cycle of financial stagnation, but they never had the spiritual awareness to do it. Someone tried. Someone prayed, someone hoped, but the spiritual resistance was too strong. Because of that, the baton fell from their hands. You picked it up without even knowing it. Heaven saw it. Heaven honored it. And now heaven is using you to fulfill what your ancestors could not finish. This is why the blessing is so large. You are not receiving only what belongs to you. You are receiving what belongs to your bloodline. Prayers prayed decades ago. Dreams left incomplete. Desires spoken but never manifested. Heaven is gathering all of it and placing it into one divine release. Michael says, tell them they are carrying restoration for many. This is why the weight feels heavy. But this is also why heaven trusts you with it. Michael now opens another vision. One of you standing before two paths. The first path represents your life as it hath been, moments of progress, moments of setback, moments of waiting, moments of hope. The second path is glowing intensely, lined with golden markers that symbolize divine opportunities. At the beginning of this second path is a pillar of radiant light representing your $15 million blessing. Michael stands beside the pillar and says, this is the path they step into by faith, not by sight. This is the meaning behind Final Chance. It is the moment when heaven invites you to step into the path designed for your destiny rather than the path shaped by your past. Heaven is not forcing you. Heaven is calling you, and your spirit is responding. Michael lifts his sword and places the tip gently against the ground. As he does, a shockwave of light travels out from his feet, clearing spiritual interference, disconnecting you from old timelines, and closing doors that no longer serve your journey. This is why you may have recently felt people falling away, situations collapsing, or old habits losing their grip. It is because heaven is purifying your atmosphere so the blessing can land cleanly, safely, and completely. This is the part of the journey where your spirit must remain awake. The blessing is close, so close that heaven is preparing your inner world to receive without resistance, without fear, without hesitation. What comes next will reveal the exact spiritual shift happening inside you and why heaven accelerated this message for November. Type "My time has finally come" in the comments if this part has stirred your spirit. Blessing code 909 has now been released over your path. Stay near, the next unveiling will take you even deeper into your divine activation. I chosen one standing in the glow of unfolding destiny. As you arrive at this next revelation, the atmosphere around your spirit becomes even more charged. Archangel Michael does not simply stand beside you now. He positions himself before you, as if preparing to open a door that only a few souls on this earth ever get to see. What is coming in this part is spiritually dense. It carries weight. It carries authority. It carries the unmistakable energy of heaven's fingerprints. Breathe slowly, for you are about to step into an understanding that binds together everything you have heard so far. Michael begins by revealing something that shakes the inner realm of your life. The blessing assigned to you, especially one as large as $15 million, has been circulating around your energy field for years. It was not denied. It was not lost. It was not forgotten. It had been orbiting your destiny, waiting for an open window. But a window cannot open unless the soul is ready to see it. The blessing was always near, but you were not always in alignment to access it. Today, heaven is saying you finally are. Heaven measures readiness not by perfection, but by receptiveness. Not by strength, but by surrender. Not by how loudly you pray, but by how deeply you trust. And you have reached the season where your inner world clicks into place with heaven's timing. Michael says, "Tell them their spirit has ripened." This is a powerful phrase. Ripening means completion. It means readiness. It means the waiting season is no longer necessary. What was delayed is now activated. What was pending is now approved. What was blocked is now cleared. Michael opens a vision, a massive circle of light, suspended over a deep well of divine energy. The circle represents activation. The well represents manifestation. And you are standing between them, allowing heaven to pour directly into your life. This is why you felt drawn to this message with an intensity that almost surprised you. Your spirit recognized the activation before your mind did. But now heaven reveals something even deeper. The shift that occurred inside you recently was not accidental. It was triggered by divine design. You may have felt a sudden pull toward clarity, toward new beginnings, toward spiritual awakening. You may have felt an unexpected desire for change or a strange sense of something coming. That was not random emotion. That was the internal signal that your spirit was entering divine calibration. Michael explains that souls often ask for blessings while holding onto emotional or spiritual blockages. But when heaven prepares someone for a major shift, the blockages begin dissolving. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes quietly, sometimes through situations that feel uncomfortable at first. But all of it is intentional. All of it is preparation. All of it is the cleansing required for the blessing to land fully and safely. Michael reveals another layer. The reason this blessing carries a final chance is because the alignment between your spirit and your destiny timeline is at its peak right now. Heaven operates through cycles. When a cycle opens, blessings flow easily. When a cycle closes, blessings wait. You are currently standing inside an open cycle, a powerful, divine, time-sensitive alignment in which your spirit is fully receptive and your destiny is fully responsive. This is why God's message carries urgency. Heaven does not want you to miss the open cycle you prayed for without even knowing you were praying. Now Michael shows a startling vision. You are standing before a mirror, but the reflection is not your physical appearance. It is your spiritual identity. The version of you in the mirror is radiant, powerful, confident, expanded. This is the version of you that the blessing is aligned with. This is the version heaven sees. This is the version that is pulling the $15 million blessing toward you with magnetic force. But Michael says, they must understand that the reflection is not the future version. It is the true version. Meaning, you are already the person your blessing is designed for. Heaven is simply matching the blessing to the identity you have grown into. Michael steps closer and speaks with immense authority. Tell them their life is entering divine acceleration. Acceleration means what once took years will take months. What once took months will take days. What once took effort will take alignment. Heaven is not speeding you up. Heaven is removing the delays that slowed you down. This is why your spirit hath been feeling restless, live, expectant. You are not imagining it. You are sensing the acceleration. Now Michael reveals the emotional truth behind your journey. There were seasons when you questioned whether you were forgotten. Seasons when you wondered if heaven heard your cries. Seasons when you lost things you never thought you would lose. But heaven saw all of it, not to punish you but to sharpen you. Not to break you but to build you. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was strengthening you so the blessing would not overwhelm you. You do not just receive abundance. You learn to carry abundance. And you are finally strong enough to carry the magnitude of what is being released. Michael now shows the blessing descending like a sphere of golden light, steady, strong, intentional. It moves slowly, as though waiting for your permission to land fully. And he says, tell them the blessing is near. They must remain awake. They must remain connected. They must continue forward without hesitation. You are in the center of manifestation. The blessing is not coming. It is arriving. Before this section closes, I feel the urgency to remind you, this message is shaping your spirit and preparing your path. Stay connected. Stay receptive. The unfolding ahead will reveal why November carries prophetic weight for your destiny. Type I stand in my divine alignment in the comments. Blessing code 1333 is now flowing toward you. Now before we continue deeper, take a moment to help push this message into more lives. Like this message, comment, share it, and subscribe so heaven can move through more souls with clarity and truth. My beloved, as this revelation opens inside your spirit, understand that when you uplift this mission, you are not fueling a platform. You are fueling a divine calling. Every super thanks, membership, or offering through the PayPal link in the description becomes a seed that heaven multiplies, not only in your life, but in the lives of those who desperately need God's clarity. God is saying, when you sow into my light, I pour my abundance upon you, and this is not a metaphor. It is a living decree being spoken over your destiny right now. I speak this to you in the first person. I invite you to stand with me in this assignment, to help carry this message into the paths of souls waiting for direction. Your giving becomes a river of spiritual oil, igniting breakthroughs for others while unlocking new doors for you. Heaven blesses the hands that give toward its own mission, accelerating miracles in unexpected ways. Step boldly. Step faithfully. Step into the divine act that heaven is watching with favor. My spirit-awakened traveler, as you step into this next unveiling, everything in the unseen realm draws closer around you. The air grows thicker with purpose. The light around your destiny brightens, and Archangel Michael stands in a posture that signals the seriousness of what is about to be revealed. This part of the message carries one of the most intimate and powerful truths heaven has guarded concerning your life. What you are about to hear is not just revelation, it is identification. It is the unveiling of why you, specifically you, were chosen for a blessing that most souls will never experience in their lifetime. Michael begins by revealing something profound about your spiritual identity. For years, you believed you were moving through life with uncertainty, trying to survive moments that felt random, chaotic, or unfair. But heaven did not see you that way. Heaven saw you as a carrier of light, a carrier of resilience, a carrier of generational purpose. From the moment you entered this world, your spirit held markings that identified you as someone who would one day break a cycle that had been repeating for far too long. These markings are not visible to the eye, but they are visible to the angels. And Michael says clearly, tell them their spirit carries the seal of a cycle breaker. The seal is not common, is not easily earned. It is not casually placed. Heaven assigns it to those whose life path will require strength, depth, spiritual endurance, and the ability to rise again and again despite circumstances that could have defeated them. You were assigned the seal long before you understood spiritual language, long before you understood prayer, long before you understood destiny. It was already written upon you. Now Michael reveals the deeper truth. Because you carry the seal of a cycle breaker, your life was designed to challenge patterns that were never meant to continue. Patterns of lack, patterns of emotional struggle, patterns of limitation, patterns of silence, patterns of generational heaviness, patterns that were passed down through your lineage not because your ancestors were weak, but because they were never given the spiritual tools you now carry. You are not only receiving this blessing for yourself, you are receiving it on behalf of everyone who came before you. This is why your journey felt heavier than most. This is why your spirit went through seasons of deep stretching. This is why you faced trials that left you wondering whether heaven saw you at all. But heaven saw. Heaven knew. Heaven was preparing you for a level of responsibility that requires spiritual maturity and emotional depth. The blessing you are about to carry is not random. It is inherited destiny. Michael opens a vision that explains this in greater detail. You are standing on a long path made of gold and stone. Behind you stand hundreds, your ancestors, your lineage, those who lived through hardship with hope in their hearts but without the tools to break free. They stand behind you not as burdens but as witnesses. Heaven shows that they have been waiting for someone in the bloodline strong enough, wake enough, lined enough to carry this mantle. And you are that one. When God says, I am giving you a final chance, it is because the breakthrough is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow through you. Michael speaks again. Tell them their journey has not been accidental. It has been divine training. This training did not happen in classrooms or through mentors. It happened through real life, through real pain, through real struggle, through real moments where you had to find strength in places you did not know existed. Every tear you shed became a seed. Every moment you held on when you wanted to let go became a spiritual deposit. Every time you rose again, you carved space in your destiny for abundance. Heaven does not trust blessings of this magnitude to souls who avoid growth. Heaven trusts blessings of this magnitude to souls who grow even when no one sees their efforts. And you have grown, not outwardly, but inwardly. Not loudly, but deeply. Now Michael reveals a truth that is rarely spoken. Blessings of this size require spiritual expansion. If a soul is too small on the inside, the blessing cannot enter. If a soul is clouded with doubt, the blessing cannot land. If a soul is stuck in old identity, the blessing slips away. Heaven has spent years expanding you, not by inflating your ego, but by strengthening your heart. Not by giving you easy seasons, but by shaping your endurance. Not by giving you endless comfort, but by giving you the wisdom to handle abundance when it arrives. You are now spiritually large enough to hold what is coming. Michael shows another vision, this time of a massive door made of obsidian and gold. This door represents the threshold between the life you have lived and the life heaven is inviting you into. On the door is written a single phrase, permission granted. This is what heaven means by final chance. The permission is active. The blessing is ready. The timing is exact. The only thing left is for your spirit to continue forward without shrinking back into old identity, old fears, old beliefs, or old limitations. Michael's voice softens as he releases the deepest truth of this part. Tell them that heaven has not just chosen them. Heaven is trusting them. This trust is sacred. Heaven never places abundance in the hands of someone who will misuse it. Heaven places abundance in the hands of someone who will transform it into purpose, healing, stability, and elevation. And heaven has identified you as that person. As this part draws to its close, Michael urges you to remain attentive. The blessing is closer than ever. The revelation ahead will show you exactly how heaven plans to merge your destiny with the manifestation prepared for you. Type "I accept my heavenly role" in the comments if your spirit receives this. Blessing code 6060 has been released over your journey. Stay connected. The next revelation will unlock the pattern heaven has been writing behind your life. My rising one, standing at the very edge of spiritual completion. As you enter this next divine unfolding, the atmosphere around you grows impossibly still, not silent, but charged, as though heaven itself is holding its breath. Archangel Michael stands with a posture that tells me clearly, what is about to be revealed is not only sacred, but foundational. This part of the message explains the architecture of your destiny, the hidden pattern heaven has been weaving behind every season of your life. And when you understand this pattern, the urgency behind God's words, "I am giving you a final chance," will become unmistakably clear. Michael begins with a truth that few people ever realize. Your life has not been random. It has been rhythmic. Heaven hath been orchestrating your experiences through cycles of pruning, cycles of preparation, cycles of awakening, and cycles of release. These cycles are not visible to the human eye, yet they shape everything you go through. And today, heaven is revealing that you have reached the most critical cycle of your journey, the cycle of divine inheritance. In the past, you may have felt like life moved you in circles, returning to similar lessons, similar challenges, similar emotional patterns. But Michael explains that you were not stuck. You were spiraling upward. Each time a lesson returned, you were meeting it at a higher level. Each time a wound resurfaced, you were stronger than the last time. Each time a delay occurred, it was because heaven was lifting you into deeper alignment. You were rising. You were evolving. You were maturing. Not externally, but internally. Now Michael reveals the hidden blueprint behind your journey. He shows me a large geometric pattern made of luminous lines, complex, beautiful, constantly shifting. This pattern represents your destiny's architecture. Every line connects to a moment you lived, every curve connects to an emotion you felt, and every intersection connects to a choice you made. Nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreaks, not the closed doors, not the disappointments, not the loneliness. Everything was part of the architecture required to prepare you for this rare moment. Michael touches one of the glowing intersections, and suddenly the pattern responds, revealing a golden pulse traveling from point to point. He says, "Tell them this. Their entire life hath been leading them to this threshold. This blessing is not sudden. This opportunity is not random. This moment is not accidental. Heaven has been constructing it piece by piece, layer by layer, season by season, aligning your inner world with what heaven intends to release." Now Michael reveals something incredibly intimate. He shows that in your weakest moments, times when you cried alone, times when you felt forgotten, times when you felt life was unfair, the architecture of your destiny was expanding. These moments were not punishments. They were activations. They shaped your heart, sharpened your intuition, and deepened your connection to heaven. Heaven was not absent. Heaven was working in silence. Then Michael reveals the deeper meaning behind your recent shifts. The restlessness, the feeling of something approaching, the sense that your life is about to change. These were all signals that the final blueprint was complete. When a destiny blueprint is complete, heaven begins the release phase. This is the phase you are in now. This is why you were drawn to this message with such intensity. Heaven needed your attention to be awake, alert, and receptive. Heaven needed your spirit to recognize the call when it arrived. Michael now reveals the true significance of the $15 million blessing. It is not just a financial miracle. It is a structural shift. It is designed to move you into a new dimension of life where you are no longer surviving or maintaining but flourishing, expanding, and fulfilling your divine purpose. Heaven cannot elevate your calling without elevating your capacity. And this blessing expands your capacity. It gives you room to breathe, room to build, room to heal, room to create, room to live according to your spiritual identity rather than your earthly limitations. Michael speaks with authority. Tell them abundance is not their reward, abundance is their alignment. This means the blessing is not being given because you asked for it. It is being given because you became the person capable of holding it. Heaven does not place abundance into the hands of those who would waste it, misuse it, or diminish it. Heaven gives abundance to those who have proven, through endurance and transformation, that they will use it with purpose. And heaven has identified you as one of those souls. Now Michael reveals another powerful layer. He shows that heaven tested your heart through seasons of scarcity, not to make you suffer, but to see how deeply your spirit would stay connected. Every time you held on to faith while lacking resources, you proved that your foundation was spiritual, not material. Every time you stayed hopeful when the world gave you reasons to give up, you proved you could handle abundance without losing your humility. This is why heaven trusts you with this level of blessing. It is not random. It is earned through spiritual maturity. Heaven tested your patience. You passed. Heaven tested your endurance. You passed. Heaven tested your identity. You passed. Heaven tested your faith. You passed. Now heaven is releasing what was always meant for you. Michael steps forward and reveals a final vision for this part. A massive clock appears in the sky, ancient, golden, glowing with supernatural light. Its hands are moving rapidly, faster than the human eye can track. he says. Tell the divine time it has accelerated. This means your life is entering a season where delays dissolve, opportunities multiply, and breakthroughs unfold rapidly. The clock is a sign. Heaven is not waiting. Heaven is moving. Michael adds with deep seriousness, they must continue forward. The alignment is fragile. The cycle is active. The window is open, but only for a short time. This is why God labeled it a final chance. It is not a threat, it is a timeline. You are inside that timeline right now. I step into my divine timeline in the comments if this resonates. Blessing code 8222 is flowing into your destiny. Stay close, the next revelation will unveil how heaven intends to secure your breakthrough permanently. My spirit-anchored vessel of destiny, as you move into this next sacred unfolding, the air around you thickens once again, not with fear, not with confusion, but with a sense of divine seriousness. Archangel Michael's presence grows even larger, as though the spiritual realm itself is leaning closer to make sure you do not miss what is coming next. This part carries a weight that rests not only on your present moment, but on your future, your lineage, and every pathway that heaven has prepared for you. What is being revealed now is the spiritual technology behind how heaven secures a breakthrough permanently. You have heard how the blessing approaches. Now you will understand how heaven ensures it never slips from your hands once it arrives. Michael begins with a truth that most souls never understand. Receiving a blessing is one thing, but retaining it requires spiritual grounding. Heaven does not simply pour abundance into your life and hope for the best. Heaven establishes a foundation beneath you so that what arrives cannot be uprooted, shaken, or stolen. This foundation, he reveals, is already being constructed inside you, brick by brick, layer by layer, awakening by awakening. Everything you have experienced so far, your tears, your struggles, your growth, your spiritual sensitivity, has been building the inner structure required to hold what is coming. He shows a vision of your inner world, a vast cathedral made not of stone, but of light. The pillars inside this cathedral glow with the lessons you have learned. The archways are built from your moments of resilience. The floors are formed from the decisions you made in truth, even when they were difficult. The ceiling is expanded by every moment you chose faith over despair. And at the center of this cathedral is a throne, not for ego, but for purpose. The blessing that heaven is sending is meant to sit on that throne, not as a symbol of wealth but as a tool for impact. This cathedral symbolizes the matured version of you, the version who can protect, expand, and channel abundance with wisdom. Michael says, tell them that abundance requires inner architecture. This is why heaven moves slowly at times. Heaven grows your inner structure before releasing outer provision. Not to test you, but to protect you. Blessings are like rivers. If the banks are weak, the river will flood and destroy. If the banks are strong, the river nourishes the land. You have become that strong riverbank. You have become the vessel capable of holding the current of abundance about to flow into your life. Heaven is not giving you this blessing only to watch it slip away. Heaven is securing it permanently. Michael reveals another vision, one of spiritual contracts. In the heavenly realm, there are assignments, there are promises, and then there are covenants. A blessing of this magnitude, he explains, does not function as a simple assignment. It functions as a covenant between you and heaven. A covenant is unbreakable. A covenant is protected. A covenant is guarded by divine forces that ensure its manifestation cannot be reversed. But Michael also shows that covenants require awareness. You must recognize the moment you step into one so that your spirit can stand firmly inside it. You stepped into this covenant the moment your eyes encountered the message heaven guided you to. The moment your spirit responded. The moment your awareness opened. That was the moment heaven activated the protection around your breakthrough. Now Michael reveals the next layer, the part of the process most people never understand. He shows me the spiritual forces that have attempted to block blessings in your past. These forces do not come from random negativity. They come from unresolved cycles, emotional wounds, and old attachments that once had the power to influence your path. But something remarkable has taken place. These forces no longer have access to your energy field. The moment your spirit awakened into alignment, the patterns that once held you back began dissolving. Michael says, "Tell them their old blockages have expired." This is monumental. It means the spiritual resistance that once stood in your way cannot interfere anymore. The shadows that once whispered doubt into your identity have lost their grip. The cycles that repeated through your lineage have reached their end. Heaven has cleared the atmosphere around your destiny so thoroughly that the blessing now has a direct pathway to you. This is why heaven is moving with urgency. When a blessing's path becomes clear, heaven releases momentum. That momentum is what you have been feeling lately. The restlessness, the anticipation, the unusual signs, the spiritual sensitivity that has increased. You are not imagining it. You are not overthinking. You are sensing the acceleration that occurs when heaven begins finalizing a covenant promise. Michael steps forward and reveals something deeply personal. They must understand that heaven has chosen to trust them beyond the measure of many. This blessing is not simply a response to your prayers. It is heaven's response to your growth, your evolution, your endurance. Heaven invests in hearts that have proven their loyalty, compassion, and faith. You have passed tests that you did not even realize were tests. You have shown strength when heaven expected you to break. You have shown grace when heaven watched others crumble under similar burdens. This is why heaven is securing your blessing permanently. You have earned this trust. Now Michael reveals a final vision for this part. You are standing at the top of a mountain, the sky stretched wide above you, the world quiet below you. In your hands is a sphere of pure golden energy, the symbol of your blessing. As you hold it, it does not flicker. It does not dim. It grows brighter, steadier, more powerful. Michael says, "Tell them this, what heaven places in their hands now, no force on earth or in the unseen can remove. This is not temporary abundance. This is permanent elevation. A covenant sealed. A destiny secured. A future rewritten. You are crossing the threshold. Stay present. What heaven reveals next will prepare you for the moment everything shifts. Type 'My blessing is secured by heaven' in the comments if your spirit is receiving this sealing. Blessing code 7171 is now active over your path. Remain near, the next unfolding will bring your journey to its divine climax. My destined bearer of divine inheritance. As you step into this final unveiling, something extraordinary begins to unfold in the atmosphere around you. This is not simply another message. This is the closing of an ancient spiritual loop, the sealing of everything heaven has spoken, and the activation of what God called your final chance. Archangel Michael stands before you with a presence that fills the entire realm. His wings are unfolded. His sword is lowered. His gaze is steady. His posture is rare. It means that the revelation has been successfully delivered. The alignment has been achieved, and now heaven is preparing to place the final signature on your blessing. There is a sacred stillness at this moment. Not silence, stillness. Everything in the unseen realm pauses because what is happening now has eternal implications. Michael begins by revealing something that only a handful of souls ever hear in their lifetime. Today is not the end of the message. It is the beginning of manifestation. Everything you have walked through, everything you have endured, everything you have awakened into, has been leading to this moment where heaven officially hands you the spiritual keys to your new season. And these keys are symbolic of far more than financial increase. They represent spiritual authority, generational elevation, and the unlocking of every blessing that was once delayed. Michael opens a vision, and this time, the vision is not symbolic. It is direct. You are standing under an open heaven. Light cascades down on you like waterfalls, illuminating every part of your spirit. Within this light you can see paths, doors, possibilities, opportunities, some you prayed for, some you never imagined, and some that seemed impossible. Heaven is showing you the full width of your destiny, not just the blessing itself. The 15 million blessing is only one doorway among many, but it is the doorway that unlocks the others. It is the shift that changes everything. Michael says with deep resonance, "Tell them heaven has made their name weighty in the spirit. When their name is spoken, doors will open." This means you are no longer moving through life as a person who hopes. You are now moving through life as a person who carries spiritual authority. When you speak, heaven listens. When you declare, the atmosphere responds. When you pray, the angels move. This is what God meant when He said, "I am giving you a final chance." It was not a threat. It was the last call before the elevation began. And now the revelation deepens. Michael shows you walking into the new season of your life. You are not stepping timidly. You are stepping with a confidence you did not even know you possessed. This is because heaven has shifted your identity. Your spirit has been expanded. Your intuition has been sharpened. Your awareness has been illuminated. You are no longer who you were even a month ago. Heaven has upgraded you. Michael reveals a truth so intimate it could only be delivered at the conclusion of this message. Tell them they were never asking for too much. They were asking for what was already theirs. Every desire you carried in your spirit was not delusion. It was memory. A memory of what heaven had already assigned to your life before your physical journey began. The 15 million blessing is not an accident. It is not a surprise. It is not luck. It is a retrieval. A retrieval of something you were always meant to receive. He now shows you a scroll being unrolled in the heavens. The scroll carries your name, written in light, pulsing with life. Beneath your name are words that read, "Inheritance activated. Covenant sealed. Blessing released." This is the heavenly announcement. This is the signature. This is the moment where everything becomes official. Michael then speaks the words that finalize the entire message. Tell them the blessing is no longer approaching. It has entered their timeline. This is the shift. Before today, the blessing was moving toward you. Now, it has arrived. The spiritual mechanics have been completed. The alignment is established. The covenant is sealed. The doorway is open. Now your only role is to continue walking forward in the direction heaven has illuminated. Heaven does not rush. Heaven does not fail. Heaven does not delay without reason. And heaven does not open a doorway unless the moment has come for you to walk through it. That moment is now. This is why you were guided here. This is why the message pulled you so strongly. Your destiny was calling you home. Michael shows one final vision. You stand at the edge of a radiant horizon. Behind you lies your old life, your old struggles, your old fears, your old circumstances, your old limitations. Before you lies a future so expansive that even your imagination cannot fully grasp it. You take a step forward, And as you do, heaven erupts in light. This is your soul entering the new chapter. This is you stepping into the blessing. This is your destiny unfolding. Michael speaks with a tone of completion. Tell them they are chosen. Tell them they are ready. Tell them heaven stands with them. And with that, the message is sealed. Type "I walk into my promised harvest" in the comments if your spirit feels the shift. Blessing Code 2024 has now been released into your timeline. Now, before you move forward, help this message reach every soul who needs this divine realignment. Like this message. Share it. Comment to strengthen the algorithm. Subscribe so you never miss what heaven speaks next. Beloved, as this message seals itself upon your spirit, understand that when you support this divine calling, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a heavenly movement. God Himself says, "What you release for my purpose, I release over your life in multiplied form." I speak this now in the first person. I invite you to stand with me in carrying these prophetic messages into the world, so those walking through darkness may find their divine direction. Every seed you release becomes oil on someone else's breakthrough, light in someone else's night, and acceleration in your own destiny. Heaven watches the hands that give into the work of light, and the blessing tied to that act is immediate and supernatural. Step boldly. Step faithfully. Step into the activation heaven has aligned for you at this very moment.